everybody online. This is being recorded so that anybody who wants to share it later on with a friend that missed it, you can do so. We have volunteers from Bank of America, the Money Habits team, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And Shreeya Julakanti, who is actually a student, if any of you are within our student district, she goes to Santa Sue. And then, so those of you that are in person, you guys have raffle tickets. So how about after you introduce, you can do a raffle. And so questions, you can ask them as they're going, but we'll also do a Q&A at the end of the presentation. So welcome and thank you guys for being here. It's a lot of really helpful information that I wish I would have had when I was your age. So thank you guys for coming.
All right. Hi everyone, my name is Shreeya, and so if you haven't signed in yet, please sign in. We also have a raffle, so just let me know if you need a raffle ticket and just end it in the back. So who hasn't signed in? Just pass them on.
Okay, should we just introduce ourselves?
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Paula Aguilera.
And I'm Lisa Atkins.
And we both work at Bank of America. And we're not here to really sell products or anything. We're here more to educate you about some of the basics of financial literacy to get you ready to go in the real world and earn some money and become independent. I personally work in Westlake Village, and I focus on growing our electric vehicle loans at the bank.
And I'm a financial center manager, so I actually work inside the branch, and I have a team of associates that help all of our clients with their financial priorities.
All right. Do you want us to get started, or are we going to do a raffle?
I think we're going to wait for them to fill the raffle tickets.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk about it.
All right, sounds good. So if we could,
Want to share the screen?
yes, can we start?
Of course.
All right, so I'm going to be talking to you this morning about banking basics. So I know that some of you probably already have accounts out, and others may not yet. So my goal here in this first part of our presentation is just to really talk to you about it. You could better understand what banking is. So why put money in a bank? You know, think about that. Why would you decide to take the cash that you have? You know, maybe when you were younger, you had piggy banks and you had cash, little stashes all over. My daughter used to do that, wherever you would keep it. So do you think about it? Well, do you have to have a bank account? Probably not, right? But there are many good reasons why you should. So the first thing I want you to think about is safety, right? You don't have to worry about the money getting lost. It's always in a centralized location. Or a fire coming, somebody robbing your, if it gets stolen. And, most banks are insured. It's called by an organization called the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC. So checking and savings accounts and some others are insured up to $250,000. So your money is always safe in a bank. And obviously when you keep cash on hand, there's always that risk of chance, right, of losing your money. Your savings can also earn money. So banks can pay you to deposit the money into your savings account. And you may be earning interest on that money. So you're actually making money on the money that you put into the bank. It may not be a lot, but it's obviously more than it is by just sitting at home in your various little cash stash that you might have. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how banks work. So when you open a bank account, you're putting your money in somebody else's hands, of course, and it's important you understand a little bit about how a bank works. So we're a financial institution, and we are licensed to receive deposits, money coming in from people like yourselves, and of course all the clients that we have at the bank. And the money belongs to you, it does not belong to the bank, right? We're just a safe place for you to put it so that you can make money, spend money, et cetera, et cetera. We're regulated by state and federal governments, and of course, like I said, the FDIC, and banks can do other things, of course, but taking in and lending out money, that's the biggest thing that we are ultimately responsible for. Banks pay people and businesses to leave their money with them and use that money to make loans. So a lot of what we do here is make loans as well at a bank. and the money that depositors or clients that they earn and banks charge is called interest. So you can see right here, right? So there's two different types of interest. The bank could pay you interest. So for example, if you had your money that you had in a savings account, the bank would pay you interest based on the current interest rate that the bank is paying. So you may earn 2%, 3%, 4% back on the money that you put into the bank. And then if we're lending money to you, so such as down the road where we do a loan, or even a credit card, which is basically like a loan that you would start building your credit as you're, as you pay back that loan, and you pay it back, you also pay interest. So there's interest that we owe you, and there's interest that we earn. So I just wanted to make sure that that differential was there. And interest that a bank pays or charges goes up and down. So it depends on the current environment, right? I don't know if you all are aware, if you've seen, but we've had a lot of what they call interest rate hikes recently, where the economy right now, there's a lot of inflation. So to buffer that inflation, they want people to spend less. So rates have gone up. So if you have your money in a savings account right now, you'll earn more money because inflation rates have gone up to keep with inflation. The same thing on the flip side, right? If you're borrowing money and interest rates go up, which they have, that means the cost of borrowing money has also gone up as well. So it's really tied to the greater economy, and that's how you'll know what interest rates are. Does anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay, yes.
I had a question. During the Great Depression, when banks across the nation became bankrupt and people were unable to withdraw their money, which kind of led to this economic panic where people were constantly rushing to withdraw their money from the bank because the banks are bankrupt. Was the FDIC created to prevent this, or was there another organization?
Yes, I'm sure, I'm not that savvy about what happened or when the time frame, but that's exactly why it was created. So it really protects up to $250,000. I don't know if any of you have watched the news recently, but there have been several banks, right, in different areas, that smaller banks that unfortunately people rushed to take their money out for one reason or the other. They got a little bit panicked, and what happened in that situation, right, is the bank didn't have enough. They had invested the money that they had gotten from their clients, and they weren't able to give all that cash back out. So those banks, unfortunately, had to, were bought or whatever happened. But then the FDIC steps in, and everybody, as long as their deposits were $250 or less, they were insured. So they'll always get their money back from the government. The government did decide to step in and pay everybody what they were owed, but that's exactly what happened, and that's why it was created.
I did Google it, so yes.
Thank you.
Great Depression crash, or the crash of 1929, FDIC created in 1933.
Okay.
There you go. Really smart. That was such a great question. So thank you for asking that question. So you can, thinking about that and see, banks are a safe place, even with all that's gone on. We're a safe place to have your money, and definitely, up to a certain extent, it is insured. So the next thing I want to talk about is how to choose the bank, right? I'm sure that in your travels, in your day, you go here, there, and everywhere, and you'll notice there are banks everywhere, right? Many different banks. There's obviously Bank of America. You'll see us everywhere, but when you go around, there are many other banks too. And sometimes it can seem really complicated, right? How do I choose a bank? What makes a bank different? How do I know this bank is better than that bank is better than that bank, right? So it's important that you check around. You should definitely ask a few questions before deciding where you want to put your money. A lot of you may bank already where your parents bank, and that might be their place, right? But many of you may, maybe they bank at a place that's not convenient because they've moved, and you're looking to bank more conveniently. So the first thing you want to ask yourself, is there a nearby branch, right? These days, a lot of things can be done online. They can be done on a mobile banking app, so it's not necessary that you go into the bank for your everyday banking needs, but it is convenient to know that if you do need help, that's what we're here for. So you want to ensure that, there's a branch nearby, right? So, and then can you access your account online or through mobile banking? You may be able to check balances, transfer money, receive statements, pay bills online. Many banks have mobile applications. Bank of America has one of the best mobile applications. I'm biased because I work here, but truly I've used others, and ours is just amazing, the capabilities that we can do, right? You can do everything now from your phone app, except for deposit cash. So truly you want to make sure that they have that added convenience of having the ability to use mobile and online banking. And you can even deposit your checks by taking pictures on your phone. And then talking about ATM access there, which you'll see is number 4, and I know you guys have handouts here as well if you want to take any notes. ATMs, which are automated teller machines, are they in your neighborhood? ATMs allow you to withdraw money from your checking account or savings account without visiting a bank branch, right? So be careful though, if you are using an ATM from another bank, a lot of people aren't aware of this. So you'll see an ATM, for instance, maybe at a car wash, a gas station. You'll see there's another bank ATM. You need some cash. So be very cautious about that because they may charge you a third-party fee. So if you are somebody who knows that they're going to be withdrawing cash, you really want to think about the bank that you choose has a lot of ATMs nearby, so that in the areas that you go to, so you don't have to worry about paying fees to take your cash out. Any questions? Okay. All right. So you also want to think about, does the student office, right? So you're all students, right? What does the bank offer you in regards to a student? What kind of benefits are there for being a student? So it's also something that you want to ask when you're opening that account, right? Many banks offer different types of benefits for opening an account, for students, so that there are no worries about balances. Worrying about won't allow you to overdraw the account. There's many benefits to it. There's no fees involved with it. So just make sure that, when you're thinking about choosing a bank, these are the top 5 things that you should be thinking about. So just to recap, the location of the bank, how close it is to you or where you're going to be. Do they utilize great technology when it comes to online and mobile banking to make your banking easier? Is there a large amount of ATM access? So if you did need cash, you won't have to pay fees. And the last thing is, how do they take care of all of you as students? Those are the things you should be really thinking about when you're choosing your bank. The difference between checking and savings accounts, right? So you'll look at the checking account, and a lot of people think checking account is checks, right? Because back in the day, that's why they called it a checking account. Because you would start your account and you would have a book of checks and everything you wanted, you would just write a check. Well, those days are long gone, but we still call them checking accounts, right? Very few of you will ever see a check because everything can be done from your smart device. But we do call them checking accounts still. And the thing with checking accounts, again, is they offer easy access to your funds, right? You can, of course, withdraw cash from the ATM. You have your ATM debit card or ATM card. Also, just sharing with you that with that particular debit card, there's 2 different kinds, right? So there's the type that you can only take money out or put money in. It won't allow you to make purchases, but there's also the debit cards that are like Visa cards, MasterCards, and those allow you to use your debit card for your everyday purchases instead of using cash. You simply have your debit card. You can go anywhere you want, probably even buy your school lunches these days with a debit card. I know that my son's in high school and he uses a debit card to buy lunch. So, so you have the ability to do that without carrying cash around with you and worry about that cash. And the money comes directly out of your accounts. You can write checks, but like I said, some banks may still have that ability to give you the checks, but most banks will have a system that will allow you to get a check sent to pay a bill through their online banking, mobile banking, bill pay. But you may still write a check here or there. Even myself, I can't remember the last check I wrote. So, and then transferring money or paying bills with online and mobile banking. This is one of the greatest benefits. So as you start to get bills, whether it's like you have like a streaming services that you have right now, Spotify, Apple, whatever music, whatever you might have, or down the road, where you have something that you want to pay. The great thing is, like I said, you can pay your bills. You can also move money between accounts from savings to checking to savings. So if you're hopefully moving it from checking to savings, right? We don't want to be taking money out of our savings account. We want to use that for future. But you can move money with a click of a button. And then, or you can go into the bank, of course. And then you can earn interest when opening an interest-bearing account. So some checking accounts do earn interest, where you can actually, the bank will pay you for having your funds in that checking account. And then the savings account is truly just to set aside money. So how many of you have something that you are looking towards to buy? Just raise some hands. Great. So very good. So obviously a savings account is going to be the, important for that, right? So it doesn't give you that easy access that your checking account gives you. So it's a great way to earn some interest like we talked about earlier and be able to put that money aside so that you can start saving for that, whatever it is that you're looking forward to in the future, that car, a purchase, small or large. It also prevents you from taking money out more than a certain amount of times each month. So it's really not supposed to be used for spending purposes, right? So if you take more than 6 withdrawals out of a savings account on a monthly basis, you may be charged a fee for that. There are regulations on there because it is a device for saving money. So you want to be real careful with the savings that we're using it for savings. But it can be like a link to a checking account if you do need to transfer money back and forth. And of course, you're going to earn interest when opening that interest-bearing account. So what questions do you have about any questions about checking, savings, or what makes them unique or different? Yes, and then I'll get you in the back afterwards.
Okay, I have one question. So like at my work, a lot of people when they come in, like especially older people, they pay with checks like at the register. Like when they come to pick up their prescriptions, they start writing up a check for it. Is like I've never seen this before like anywhere else. I didn't know you can do it, but we have like process through our system and everything.
Right.
Is there any like benefits to like writing a check when you're like, you know, like at the register and opposed to like paying with money or?
Honestly, no. I mean, it's just another form of payment. So yeah, so obviously, you know, people are at different places in their lives, right? And it's what they've gotten used to with checks, you know. The danger with checks obviously is they get lost, right? It's easy to, if you have a debit card or an ATM card, it's easy to just walk in and get a new one, right? You notice it's missing. For those of you that use a mobile wallet, I mean, you don't lose your phone, right? You can even upload your card on your phone, tap and pay. I mean, even I do it, right? So, but the checks, they get lost. It's anybody can, you know, you might find, or a check in the mail. There's a lot of mail fraud that goes on and people are washing checks and things like that. So the benefit would be for people, it's much more secure, especially if they tap their debit card, than it would be to use the check. There's no benefit whatsoever. That's just what they're choosing to use. That's a great question. Yes, Megan.
When it comes to savings accounts, if they were made for someone, but in, like my mom had a savings account when I was younger, how does that work if I want to take money from it in the future? Because it's under my name, but it's created by her.
Correct. So if it's in your name, there's a couple different things. So if she just opened it with your name on it, you have access anytime. That's your money. If she, you know, so let's say you're co-owners of that savings, and at any time you could go in and withdraw your money because it's yours, right? If they did an account where it's like for benefit of, where, you know, I don't want to get into the logistics of it. At that point, it would be a little bit different. But for the most part, from what I see, like I opened my kids' savings a long time ago too, right? So they have complete access to that savings. If you don't have a checking account though, and let's say you go to the bank where your savings was, then they would be linked, and then you would be able to actually just move money from one to the other. So you would see them all on like a mobile banking application, and then you would know how much money you have in there, and you'd be able to move the money like that. But yes, you have money, but try to keep it safe. Yes.
Okay, so the savings account is bank authorized, right? So that means that basically the bank has, like you said, like after 6 withdrawals within a month, then the bank starts to charge a fee every time you withdraw money from the savings account, right? Mm-hmm. So does that mean that the savings account is like something that the user says like, hey, I want to make it, and the bank says, okay, I'll make it, and I'll say like, since you want to save money, I'll help you, I guess, authorize it, right?
Right.
Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah. So you would walk into, so you just to say you came into my branch, right? So we would meet with you, sit down with you. We would discuss the different types of accounts that we have, right? Checking, savings, and If you truly were trying to put money away and it wasn't something that you were gonna be using regularly, then that's when we would, you would decide on that savings account. So it's really up to the individual when they come in. Then we open that account, we use identification to make sure that we protect you, and we open it up, and then you can choose to have that ATM card if you want to put money in or take money out of the ATM. The reason why it's done that way, because it is supposed to be a tool for you to save money and earn interest. So what happens a lot of times at banks, let's say you continue to dip into it too often, they may even just turn it into a checking account so that you don't incur those types of fees that go along with that. So that's why you have to think about what are your priorities when you're banking, right? And, personally, I feel like that it's important to have both, right? I think you have to learn how to manage your money, which is really great when you have that checking account, right? That the ability to be able to then see what you're spending and how much you have. And then also having that savings platform, if you have money to put away so that you don't keep touching that money. And you can save that then, and then take that one withdrawal out when you're ready to spend it, or transfer it to your other account versus, oh, I need $20, I need $20, and before you know it, you're being charged fees. And the whole point of a savings account is for you to earn interest and save money. It's not for you to spend. So it's not the right account. That's a great question. It's just not the right account to do so. Did that answer your question? Kind of? Okay. Yeah. But we authorize it with you, right? We do it. It's a partnership when you come into the bank. Anybody else? Yes.
With a debit card, currently, I believe it's created as an extension from my parents' account, but it has a limit every day of $60. So like if my transaction within that day exceeds that $60 amount, it won't let me proceed with the payment. So I was wondering, like, once I turn 18, does that limit automatically go away, or how does it work?
It's obviously something that has been set for you. We don't have that type of a situation you should be able to change that limit. Okay, I don't know where you bank or where the bank is. I can only speak from personal experience, right? At Bank of America, where if you have mobile banking, you can set limits as far as withdrawal limits daily, which can be done in mobile banking, and it can be changed as often as you want to, because you have control of that. So I would definitely find out about that. But something you should ask. I would definitely either ask your parents about it, or look it up. Do you have mobile banking yet or anything for you?
Yes, it's for Union Bank.
It is Union, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
checking account.
yeah, so maybe that's their, we have a student account and we don't have limits on our debit cards.
Okay.
You can set limits on it, so you don't spend, but we don't have a limit as far as a spending limit. That's like predisposed kind of a thing. But there should be something in there that shows you, what to do with that. I'm sorry. That's great. I just wish I'd known that. It'd be nice to my son. But, anyways, anything else? All right. In wrapping it up and things that we talked about, this kind of wraps it up for you. Just thinking about when you're opening the account, how much you're bringing, what the balance is going to be. Are there any fees involved? How many withdrawals do you think you'll be making? Does it offer overdraft protection? So if you do overdraw, our accounts do not, for students, do not allow you to get overdrawn, which is like a nice thing, right? So you can't overspend. Well, you can, but you can't buy anything else after that. Transfer fees, replacement fees for debit cards. These are all things that you want to think of. So just to wrap it up, and I'm going to turn it over to Paula. Just a few things, again, that we've talked about today. We talked about, the importance of understanding why it's great to actually have an account, interest in, interest out, the different types of accounts that you can open, of course, and then just really truly thinking about when you are opening those accounts, what's the purpose of that account? So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to my partner here, and she's going to take you guys through, you'll see right there, a student workshop in a savings planner.
Okay, thank you.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah,
It was a pleasure, you guys. Thank you so much.
Guys, so in the interest of time, I'm not going to cover all the slides here. I think the next session that we have is going to be on Thursday at 6 p.m. and it talks about budgeting. So what I want to focus on right now is a little bit about how you earn when you earn your money, and just get you started thinking about this worksheet here about why are we earning money, right? Does anybody want to buy a car at some point in the future? Does anybody want to buy some new clothes in the future? All right. Does anybody want to pay for their own cell phone in the future? Okay, so to start to have asking those questions, right, we're going to have to start thinking about how we're going to earn money and how we're going to start saving money. And then I think the next week we're going to cover a little bit about budgeting. So now that you have the money, how are you going to, what's going to be your plan for the money? So let's, we're going to skip through a few of these. So the first things first, does anyone here have a job just by raising hands? Anyone have ever worked a job? Okay, so some of you guys are already earning money. Does anybody get allowance or did anybody ever get money for their birthday? Yeah, okay, some people earn money for their birthday. So first things first, when we start thinking about becoming financially independent and really buying things for ourselves in savings, we have to know how much is coming in, right? So we have allowance, which some people get, gifts. If you're a waitress or you work at Starbucks or anything like that, you may get some extra tips on top of that normal hourly rate. Or then you have your wages for, like the basic job that you do. So when you think about managing your money and knowing where your money's coming from, it's good to maybe jot this down on a piece of paper or on an Excel spreadsheet or in your mind. Know how much approximately you might be making in the near future. And you can see here that this particular person, and it's because of their gifts, maybe it was their birthday in March, they graduated, got $200 in June. It fluctuates, right? And everybody's income pretty much fluctuates, depending on how many hours they work, etc. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, I want to show you this because this is kind of the ugly truth at the beginning when you get your first job. All right, so let me put some on paper here. Gross pay. So let's say you work 20 hours a week and you earn $20 an hour. How much money do you think you will be earning? What's 20 times 20? 400. Now, let me ask you something. Will you be taking $400 to the bank account at the end of the week? Not necessarily, because there is a word. there is some deductions or taxes here. So let's talk about your work 20 hours, you make $20 an hour. Your gross pay is going to be the $400. But guess what, guys? There's some stuff that comes out of your paychecks. All right, and it either has to come out of your paycheck or you choose for it to come out of your paycheck. So the gross pay is the total amount that you're paid each cycle. Mandatory deductions are going to be here in number 2. What are some of these? Can you guys see what these are here? Our favorite T word, taxes. Have you ever heard the saying, there's nothing starting in life other than like taxes and debts? We're going to always pay taxes on our paychecks. Then there's Social Security and there's Medicare. So these are going to be mandatory deductions coming out of that paycheck. Now next, let's say your job offers you some extra benefits. When you start working, becoming more financially independent, you're no longer on your parents' insurance program. You may have to start paying for health insurance to go to the doctor, to cover yourself. And then there's something called a 401k, which is actually a retirement plan. So now we're going to start putting money away for when we no longer want to work. There's a couple other benefits. Every company is different. One thing you may want to ask during this job fair is, do you offer any benefits? What are some of the things you might offer me on top of just the hourly rate, right? I see a lot of government jobs out there. I see the police, I see the army. There's a lot of great benefits that might be associated with that. And it's not that you have to take these benefits, but if you choose to take some of these benefits, you'll usually see that in this section right here on your paycheck, okay? So now you have 1, you take away 2, you have to take away 2, and you may take away 3, and then you end up with number 4, which is your net pay. This is the amount you're taking to the bank, okay? So let's say you earn the $400, 20 hours, 20 hours at $20 an hour, you have 400, you take away 2 and 3, you're probably ending up with maybe, I don't know, I'll just say like $320 at the end of it, right? So let's go to the next section. Next slide. Let's skip this one. budgeting. Okay, this is more budgeting too. Let me just see. All right, this is still budgeting. So I want to keep on skipping this because next week is going to be budgeting. Basically, what this is here is talking about now that you've earned this $320 a week. Actually, can you go back a couple? Sorry. Once you earn the $320, you have to start planning what you're going to do with the money. And I don't want to spend too much time on this because that's going to be next week's topic, is really making a plan as to how you're going to spend your money. Are you going to go to Starbucks every day and pay $5? 5 times a week, that's $25. So maybe you write $25 there. Are you going to buy some new shoes? Are you going to buy some new sunglasses? Are you going to, if you have a car, what is something that you have to budget into your weekly budget? How does your car drive? What does it use? Gas. I just, on my way over here, I pumped $70 in my car for the week. So you have to think about that. So this is just an idea, and we'll get into that next week with a worksheet. Think about what your expenses are. What do you need and what do you want? All right. So for example, you have a pair of sunglasses on your head. It is very sunny outside. Eyes are sensitive, so this could totally be a need. But do you need 5 pairs of sunglasses? Would that be a need or a want? A want. Great. Who went to a concert recently? Anyone go to a concert recently? Any concerts? No one got like those Taylor Swift concerts that the tickets that everyone's fighting over. Okay. Need or want? Okay. Textbooks. Need or want? Cell phone. Okay, it's not always straightforward, right? So some of these items are going to be very much a need, very much want, and sometimes you kind of have it in the middle. So as you think about your planning and what you're going to do with the money that you've earned after working these 20 hours, start thinking about where you want to spend it and what is a need versus a want. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So on this worksheet, student workshop savings planner. This is, sometimes they say like you want to like document your wishes for it to come true. You're going to channel this. You do a vision board, things like this. What are you saving your money for? Have you actually jotted this down on a piece of paper? Do you know? Do we have some stuff in mind? Does anyone want to share like one thing they might be saving money for? Yes.
Like a new iPhone.
A new iPhone. Totally. I just got something about 5G. I didn't know I didn't have 5G, but okay. $12 for a phone, right? A car. Yes. Totally. Okay. These are all great things. So you have your short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. Anyone trying to go to college? Mm-hmm. And some of you might have to pony up some of your own money, right? Maybe your parents will say, okay, I'll pay some of it that you need to pay this part. Or maybe they'll give you a meal plan when you go to college. But if you want all that extra stuff and go out to eat with your friends, you got to think about what you're saving. So I would just take this home and kind of like how we do a vision board, document what you think you want to be saving for. And so when it comes to saving, think about you first. Prioritize your future self. And when I say this, I guess, to a group of teenagers, maybe you want to start prioritizing your college education or what you're going to do over the next 4 years. Some people move out when they turn 18. Maybe we need to start saving for our own rent and things like that. Also, if you don't have a car already and you want to save up for a car, make sure you also want to save up for gas. I work in electric vehicles, so maybe you want to save up for an EV, but you also have to think about your electric bill. Okay, so like I said, next week on Thursday, there's going to be more about budgeting. Talk about what are some great tips to budget. Think about ways that you can save money. For example, do you want to get the full cable, or do you want to pay $12 to Netflix? Do you want to go to Starbucks, or do you want to make your coffee at home? I will admittedly sometimes order off the kids menu at a restaurant because I know it's like half the price. So things like that, we'll talk about how you manage your money. Okay. But I hope that at least from like a paycheck perspective, as you talk to these companies out here, ask them how much they pay, what are the benefits, and really think about what your paycheck may look like in the near future. Okay? All right, I'm gonna pass on to you.
Alright, so now we're gonna be playing a game, and it's actually called the Uber game. You might be kind of confused why it's called that, but how many of you guys have taken an Uber? Okay, so have you ever thought about like how they make their money, how they manage it, and like how it is to live as one? Like, I know this is gonna relate a lot with budgeting and making decisions in the modern day economy. So if you guys have a cell phone, please scan this QR code and then we can get started. And if you don't, just raise your hand and we can try to play on the computer. Is everyone ready? All right, so how many of you guys chose easy difficulty to start?
Wait, what?
So if the game is in 2 difficulty levels. So one of the difficulty levels is easy, and this is where you're in San Francisco already. So this is where you'll be getting all the rides like easily. But then there's hard, where you're all the way in Sacramento and you have to drive 2 hours to get business and be able to get. And so the goal of this game is you're gonna try to make around $5,000, which is just enough to pay your mortgage. This is not even like including other expenses. This is just to make your mortgage. How many of you guys called Chris and how many of you guys waited? Called Chris or call? Okay, call Chris. Let's do that.
Easy.
Easy. Okay, you chose easy.
No, we just started.
Hard. Okay. Okay. Are you gonna ask him to like hurry up or just wait?
Yeah.
Hurry up. Okay. So then he comes out and he looks kind of tired because you asked him to hurry up. So we asked him, "Are you Chris?" And then, do you try to talk to Chris, or are you just gonna stay in silence? Which one? Which one? Talk to Chris?
Strike up conversation.
Okay, yeah, let's try that. So the reason you're gonna try to talk to him is probably better because you want to get higher ratings on the Uber app. Yeah, you gotta get the ratings to be able to get adequate business. So yeah. How many of you guys are at the place where you choose what type of car? Okay. How many of you guys want the Toyota and how many want the Dodge? If it's Toyota or Dodge. 1 for Toyota and 2 for Dodge. It looks like there's a lot more ones. So we're gonna go with the Toyota Prius. All right. I know. Okay, so we chose the Toyota. Okay, so this is the section where you're gonna choose what you're gonna buy, okay? So what do you guys, does anyone, yeah, Alan?
How does a gym membership benefit you as a professional driver?
You have to make the decision for yourself. So we're gonna buy, do you want the gym membership or no?
No.
No, okay. Oh, no, it's okay. How many of you want the unlimited data plan? Because as a driver, you're gonna be driving around a lot and you might not have signal. Okay, so data plan, perfect. What about a phone mount and charging cords? No, okay. Well, who wants it? Who wants it? A dirty car? Would they keep a dirty car?
Yeah.
Okay. How many people think that it would be beneficial to buy a business license?
Wait, what is that?
I think it's just gonna make you an independent contractor when you're running the business as an Uber driver.
So like, does it mean you earn more money, or like, is it just like make you look official?
I think it makes you more official. Yes. Okay, no. All right, so we're done shopping. Okay, all set. Everyone's set. Okay, so are we gonna try to go to Sacramento, or stay in Sacramento, or go to San Francisco? Which one?
No.
Stay in Sacramento?
Stay in Sacramento? How many of you think we should stay in Sacramento? No? Go to San Francisco? Okay, keep in mind that's a 2-hour drive. So it's gonna cost
So like every single day.
yeah, because it's hard mode, we're gonna have to drive 2 hours every day to San Francisco from
Wait,
Sacramento.
what are the pros and cons if you stay versus if you go to San Francisco?
If you go to San Francisco, it's a big city, so you're gonna get a lot more people wanting to, a lot more rides. But if you stay in Sacramento, you save money with gas, and you also, it's a lot less labor and less work hours.
We have a small group, so let's try our luck in San Francisco.
Okay, San Francisco?
Yeah.
San Francisco. Got it. Okay, so we just made some money. Perfect. Makes sense. Okay. Is everyone at the burger or pizza decision? Which one? Feel free to just shout it out loud. You don't have to raise your hand or
Wait,
anything.
what was it?
The burger or pizza, because you're hungry now.
Oh, I didn't get that.
You didn't get that? Okay, pizza.
I'm on a different part. This is getting late and you have a 2-hour drive to get.
Yes. Yep. So who wants to keep driving? If you keep driving, you're gonna make more money. But if you feel too tired, you just go home, go to sleep. Which one? Go home.
Keep driving.
Okay. Who wants to keep driving? Just raise your hand. Who wants to go home? Okay, we're gonna keep driving.
Oh God.
Okay, you're tired and dirty now.
That's what the new membership is for.
Yep. All right, so we finished day 1. How are you feeling about that? How's everyone feeling about it? Good? Okay, the game is gonna start to get a little bit stressful once you realize that you need to make $5,000 this, or wait, no, $5,000 this month, so yes. Now we're driving to San Francisco again because we chose hard mode. Is everyone gonna get a receipt or no? What do you think? Get a receipt? Why do you think it's important to get a receipt?
Keep track of your expenses.
Exactly, so you know. So you can also fill it out on your. Okay, so is your son more important or these 4 trips to complete your quest? Which one? This is a difficult decision to make for a lot of people. 4 trips?
Yeah.
Who wants to make the 4 trips? Who wants to help their son with homework? Okay. Looks like we're gonna make the 4 trips. So your son is gonna be a little disappointed, but at least you'll have enough, hopefully have enough money to pay your mortgage. So we're gonna keep driving. Okay. So how do you feel about that? Good or bad?
Good.
Good? Okay, even though you left your son. Okay. Now we're on day 5. We're almost there. Okay, it looks like we have to accept the quest to make 65 trips. And I think this is a good place to wrap up. So how much money have you all made based on your decisions? Look at the top left of your screen. How much money have you made?
760.
Okay. Anyone else want to say how much they made? Yes? What? Okay, so has anyone made over $1,000? Anyone below 600?
I think I'm the worst Uber driver
How
ever.
much money did you make?
5.
Okay, it's okay, that's okay. So this is a good place to wrap up. So based on this, what did you guys learn about having to manage your money as an Uber driver?
Guys.
Like gas money, yes.
Because it's like making the right decisions, like in favor of the
Yeah.
passenger.
Yeah, for sure. This game's like a really good example of like how difficult it can be to make decisions when you're managing your money in the real world. Like one of the questions that stood out to me was like, do you want to help your son with their homework or do you want to just meet the goal to get the bonus? And a lot of us did try to meet the bonus, but we still didn't make enough to pay mortgage. So this just really shows that it's really important to keep track of your money. And yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Was it even possible to complete the first quest?
Yeah, it should be. There should be certain decisions which will allow you. We only stopped at like around halfway because there's another week to go through. But yeah, you have to.
What decisions in the beginning that you would have we should have made?
Yeah. All right. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts they'd like to share before we wrap up for today? Yes.
For the sun question, you can think of it as like a double, sword, right? Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, you can make money, and with that money, you can pay for a tutor. So that way you don't have to worry about your son.
Right. That's also a good point to think about, but I guess the games don't really have that option, but in real life, that's great. All right, so now it's time for our raffle. Okay, so the first item we're gonna be giving away is this pen, but it's like high quality, and when you go like that, it lights up. I know, and there's also a stylus in the back, so yeah. The first lucky winner is DR. Who's DR? Is that you? Yay! Okay. The next thing we're going to be giving away is a $10 Starbucks gift card. So we talked about Starbucks when we were managing our money. This can save you around $10, guys. So $10 whole dollars. Okay. Dominic Flores. Oh, you won? Okay. You go. Good job. Okay. And the last item we're gonna be giving away is this golf sleeve thing. I know if you want to give this to your dad or if any of you play golf. You are? Okay. Joseph Ramirez. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap up for today? Okay. So just make sure you sign in if you haven't already, and we have 3 more workshops coming up. Make sure you take your folder home and come back to the next workshops. You can still sign in on bit.ly Talk Money. So yeah, we're good for today. Thank you, everyone. So cool. Thank you for